Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to all our participants, dignitaries, esteemed speaker, and industry representatives to the online session on how to enhance productivity using MS Office 365, organized by IMC Chamber of Commerce and Industry. All participants will be muted to avoid any disturbances during the course of this session. To consume less bandwidth and clarity, you are requested to stop video streaming at your end. Kindly post all your relevant queries in the chat section so that the same can be addressed if time permits. The most important, do send us your feedback on the link provided in the chat section so that we can keep improving our services based on your suggestions. So, as we begin the session, may I request Mr. Juzer Khorakiwala, President, IMC Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to present the welcome address. Over to you, Mr. Khorakiwala.
Thank you, Selvi. Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of the IMC Chamber of Commerce and Industry, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome all the distinguished guests, our esteemed speaker, Dr. Nitin Paranjpe, Founder CEO, Max Office Services Private Limited, to the online session on how to enhance productivity using MS Office 365. In March 2019, when offices were ordered to close as measure to contain coronavirus outbreak, many organizations found themselves unprepared. Existing infrastructures were put under unprecedented and unexpected stress. Workforces were sent home, while important data and project files sat inaccessible in on-site servers. While the existing staff working from home tried to keep business moving as usual, interruptions, delays, and outages made it rather more challenging with issues related to access of data sitting on their office premises servers. Organizations with significant on-premise infrastructures literally struggled to work around pandemic lockdown restrictions. In fact, some companies with excellent on-office premise solutions have been unable to operate at all since they were locked out of the office without access to the physical servers. It is not really a question of whether your business should move to the cloud, but more a case of when and how, on what solutions. If you haven't made the move already, cloud computing statistics reveal the exponential growth of the industry since last decade. Estimated at just $25 billion in 2010, it has already surpassed the 150 billion mark. As per statistics, 81% of all enterprises have multi-cloud strategy already laid out or in the works. 67% of enterprise infrastructure is cloud-based. Platform as a service grew in adoption to 56% by 2020. The cloud has come an extremely long way in what seems like a very short space of time, especially during the pandemic times. It allows you flexibility and scalability and always keeps you up to date with your IT solutions. Using cloud productivity suites allow you to save money on maintaining software licenses, installation, running an IT department, and more. All your data is stored in the cloud, accessible anywhere and at any time. The powerful tools provided by the solutions help you work, learn, organize, connect, and create. If you haven't taken advantage of what the cloud can offer, you may be wondering where to begin. And one of the most important aspects for your business when moving to the cloud is going to be which productivity and collaboration platform you decide to use. This is where the IMC Digital Technology Committee has decided to help its members and partners. We will be imparting training sessions on various solutions to bolster your knowledge and thus let you take better business decisions. In today's session, we are going to present you with the advantages and how you can enhance your business with Office 365, which has a long-standing reputation for providing businesses with productivity solutions. Before we start, I would like to brief you that IMC Chamber of Commerce and Industry has a rich legacy of 114 years of existence. It was founded on September 7th, 1907 by few Indian merchants who came together to establish a Swadeshi institution to fight for the rights of the Swadeshi businesses. Chamber exclusively served the interests of the Indian business community and also took part in several key movements. In recognition of the Chamber's contribution to nation building, Mahatma Gandhi accepted honorary membership in 1931. IMC is the only chamber where Mahatma was a member, which is truly an honor for the chamber and an immensely proud legacy. At its 100th year, the postal stamp was issued by the Government of India, recognizing the services of the chamber. Over the years, a galaxy of leaders, both Indian and international, including presidents and prime ministers, have adorned the chambers by their visits. The theme we have chosen for this year is Engaging Maharashtra, Building India. The chamber's activities will revolve around this theme. In this time of economic crisis, we believe that the private sector should increasingly engage with the government in the center and states to build capacities and systems which are resilient to future shocks. Towards this, IMC will focus on engaging with the Government of India and the Government of Maharashtra and endeavor to contribute and complement their efforts to creating sustainable development environment. Thank you very much and enjoy the proceedings of the seminar. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kharakiwala. I now request Dr. Pradeep Pense, Co-Chairman, IMC Digital Technology Committee, to present the introductory address. Over to you, Dr. Pense. 1 minute, Doctor. So please unmute yourselves. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Sarbi. President, IMC Chamber of Commerce, Dr. Kharakiwala. My chairman of the IMC Digital, Harish Bhai, and Selvi and the IMC team, and most important, Dr. Nitin Paranspe, for willingly, happily agreeing to help us in terms of delivering this session. And we couldn't have thought about should I say, a good starting point for the series. And this series, incidentally, is nothing but a vision which President outlined to us in the very first meeting of this committee, where he stated that we need to show the MSME as to what are the kind of technologies which are appropriate for them and how can they learn them. And these series of sessions that we are planning in the next 6 months are towards that. And speaking from my personal experience, and I must mention Dr. Nitin Paranspe, of course, is a outstanding expert in the area of Microsoft products in general, but also specifically in the area of using these tools for productivity improvement, either at a personal level or at an organizational level. He's been consulting in that space for a very long time that I know, and it's quite transformative. In fact, every year at the Wellinger School, we invite him to speak to our new batch of students, nearly 500, 800 students, I think, addresses. And people who think they know Excel and PowerPoint feel ashamed when they listen to his sessions. You know, so it is something which is worth attending, and it's really a treat every time that I attend his sessions. But more important, I think, than just attending is also to try out these things in practice and change our habits, because as he will tell you later, that many of these tools, you can have multiple ways of doing things, and we generally tend to find the easiest way of doing things and get along with it, but that may not be the best way to do it. And I think that's a learning that I have taken from him, and try and find the best way and optimize your resources, optimize your effort in doing so, and get the best out of it. The other important point, which even the president mentioned, is about the cloud space. And I think Wellinger itself, for example, last year we brought in Office 365 with nearly 3,000 students and all the faculty members. Suddenly, you could feel collaboration in the true spirit happening because of the tools that existed. And we never knew till the time we actually used it. And for the MSMEs, I think it's a real boon if you use these tools quite effectively. Many of you, I'm sure, are already using it, and you might get higher level tips and tricks from Dr. Paranspe. Look forward to this exciting talk, Dr. Paranspe. Over to you, and welcome all the participants, and I hope you enjoy this.
Thank you, Dr. Pense. I now request our esteemed speaker, Dr. Nitin Paranspe, Founder, CEO, Max Office Services Private Limited, to kindly take us through this training session. Over to you, Dr. Paransve. Doctor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Great. So thanks a lot for joining. And I know I have time till 5:30, but I'm going to keep some time for question and answer as well. Thank you, Mr. Korakiwala, Mr. Tibrewala, and of course, Dr. Pense, and all the other esteemed members who are here, and of course, Selvi and team. So let's get started. I don't want you to lose focus because I'm going to talk about a lot of things. So please focus on the screen presentation. I'm going to show you a lot of demos. Anytime you have a question, please feel free to post it on the chat. I will try to address all questions. I don't want most people to attend this on a mobile because maybe you're used to attending meetings on mobile. But in this case, because I'm going to show you a lot of demos, you'll be able to appreciate it better and learn better if you move to a bigger screen. Could be a tablet, PC, laptop, whatever. With that, I'm going to switch off my video because then you can focus on the presentation better. As you know, it's getting recorded and the recording will be available. So don't worry about taking detailed notes. Just focus on what I'm saying. If you like something, note it down and think, where can I use it in my context? Because all of you come from different industries, different domains, different levels. So the feature or the functionality may be same, but each one of you can potentially use it in a completely different manner and in different contexts. So applied knowledge is what you should take away from here. With that, let's see how to improve productivity. Now again, productivity is a very difficult term to define because every industry, every department, every person for that matter may define it differently. So let's do that first. And this entire session is focused on Microsoft 365. So let's also understand what that means, and then we can put two and two together. Now I know that there are a lot of variable options here. There are different people, different industries, but there is some commonality, and that is what I'm going to focus on. Because when we usually work, everyone's work is different. I understand that. But there are two types of work. One is the structured part of the work, which is different for everyone. I understand that part. Everyone's structured work may be different. I got that. But when it comes to any work, any piece of work, I mean, there is a part of it which is called unstructured work. For example, these are simple examples of work. Okay. Each one of them is a specific kind of work, nothing new there. But when it comes to actually doing the work, apart from the domain knowledge, you also need to create documents, gather data, get inputs from people. There will be multiple files, emails, meetings, chats. That is the unstructured part of the work. So even though the structured part of the work is highly variable and there are so many variations and industries and domains, practically infinite, the commonality is the unstructured part of the work. And unfortunately, unstructured part of the work consumes 50% of our day-to-day life, but the amount of time, energy, money, which we spend on optimizing our processes, that is never done for the unstructured part of the work. And that's the problem. So what happens on the core side? We are spending a lot of time, energy, money. Yes. On what? Well, on various things. In the sense, we are trying to improve it in every possible way, automating it, standardizing it, cross-checking it, continuous improvement. But on this side, there is nothing in the sense, as long as the work is getting done, nobody cares how it was done. So this part is very nice. This part is absolutely not nice. Unfortunately, the work is getting done. Inefficient does not mean wrong output. The output is correct, but at the cost of someone's life, because there was a faster, better, smarter way of doing it. The problem is this is unstructured. So nobody put a structure to it. Never mind, we'll put a structure. But from this point of view, what is efficiency? Well, You know what is efficiency in, let's say, manufacturing. You have input, you have output. So if you want to produce more goods, you'll have to increase the raw material. But when it comes to unstructured work, you are the input. Your effort, your time, your life is the input. So the idea is to minimize your input and maximize the output. That, in simple terms, is how efficiency can be improved in the context of unstructured work. Now, how do we do that? Well, when it comes to unstructured work, because it is unstructured, you will say, how do I structure it? Good question. So even if it is unstructured, it is not completely hopeless. There are some patterns, there are some commonalities within unstructured work as well. What are those common things everyone does? Well, everyone is creating something. Everyone is storing files, data somewhere. Everyone is executing work every day. Some work may be my work, some work may be teamwork, project-specific work, a combination. All the time we are collaborating, communicating with internal people as well as external people. Data keeps growing all the time. We want to analyze it. The more you analyze, the better it is for us. And during all this, sometimes we realize that some processes are repetitive, and that repetition is taking away someone's time. We are paying salary for that time, but it's not really adding value. It's the same thing again and again. So can we automate it without overloading IT? So that's another need. So these are broad common needs when it comes to unstructured work. Okay, so that's about the need. Now let's talk about the solution. In this case, I'm talking about Microsoft 365. Now, what exactly is that? Let me also tell you that first, and then we'll put two and two together. Office is not new. We have been using it for decades, but this is just Office the way we traditionally know about it. When you say Office 365, it's not just these 5 tools. There are so many tools available as of today. They are a part of the same set of tools. Now the problem is, how many of you know this? And even if you don't know it and I'm trying to show it to you, are you going to get impressed or depressed or confused? And the most common reaction is confusion. There is also a pushback which says, I already am getting all my work done with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook. Which version doesn't matter, cloud or not doesn't matter. Work is getting done. Why should I bother learning more? Even if I want to learn, I don't have time. Sorry. And all these products die their own death every day. So the question is, why did Microsoft create tools? They are also a profit-making company. Creating a product is a multi-billion-dollar investment. They won't do it unnecessarily, correct? There must be a reason. So the purpose of today's session is to convert that confusion into clarity. Now, the method of doing that is, we have needs. And obviously, Microsoft must be knowing our needs. So they have created solutions which fit into the correct slots. So now we can put two and two together, the same icons, but with a better positioning. And that is the first step towards improving efficiency. First, you have to know what is available, understand the strength of each tool, and then use each one in the correct place. That's a very important thing, because if you know a subset of tools, you will end up using all of them. And many places, you're using the wrong tool in the wrong place. And that is enormous inefficiency. So how do we go about doing it? We will see all these tools broadly during the next 1 hour or so. So with that, how do we go about making sense out of all these? Some of them are familiar, so I won't spend too much time on them, but many of them may not be familiar. So let's get an overview of what we are talking here and how will this whole thing work. Now, what we are really talking about here, and I remind you again, anytime you have a question, please post it in chat. I may not address all the questions immediately, but I will address all unanswered questions at the end. Why am I saying that? Because some questions may actually get answered over the next 1 hour, but don't wait for me to ask. Please keep posting your thoughts, questions, pushbacks, resistance, whatever, doesn't matter. We also have a reactions button, I hope, where you can keep telling me whether you like it, don't like it, go faster, go slow, all good. Fine. So creating things. Word, Excel, PowerPoint, we know what we can do broadly. OneNote is something which is not commonly known, despite the fact that it has been there for quite some time. Now you'll say, okay, I don't need it. Never mind. Let's talk about needs first. Do you take notes? Yes, you take notes. How do you take notes? No standardization, either mobile, desktop, some PC, some software, or paper. Fair enough. Whatever you like, you do. Nobody told you the best way. Fair enough. Question is, irrespective of which method, can you find those notes after 2 months, 6 months easily? The answer is no. So what is the point? More effort, less impact. So the idea is there is a need, which is an unsaid need. What is the need? I want an ability to link notes to meetings. Maybe that thought is there, but you don't know the answer. So you just do whatever you feel like. So now answer. When there is a need, there has to be a solution. Why? Because Microsoft has been spending 30 years creating these products with 1 billion users. So they definitely know what you need. You are not as in a person, but broadly what the humanity needs from the point of view of executing unstructured work. They absolutely know. What does the corollary mean? If there is a need, there must be a solution. I just need to find it. So in this case, I'll give it to you. Where is the meeting? Oh, meeting is in calendar. So you go to calendar. You don't need to know what is OneNote. OneNote is just an electronic notebook. You want to link notes to meetings. Go to the meeting. When you don't know something, right click, look at all the options. Probably you have right clicked on a meeting before in Outlook, but never noticed this. So the need existed, the solution was right there, but both of you didn't meet each other. That in effect is called inefficiency. But now it'll ask you, do you want to take notes? Yes. Then it'll ask you to choose the correct notebook, and that's it. It'll add a page, and this page is automatically linked to that particular meeting. That's all. Now you take notes, it's auto save, close the notebook. No need to remember folder name, file name. Next time you want those same notes, what do? Go to the meeting. It's easy to find it in the calendar. Right click, same option, and it will directly find the page for you. Outlook knows where that page is. End of story. So now this is very nice. But then you will say, if I do it on mobile, that feature is not there. No problem. But on mobile OneNote, you take notes without linking it to the meeting. It will sync to your desktop. And on the desktop, there is a button where you can retrospectively sync the notes to meetings. The last option, if you prefer to take notes on paper, no problem, continue. It's natural, it's good, no doubts. After the note taking on paper is over, take out your mobile, take out the camera, take photos of these pages. They will sync again with your desktop and then retrospectively link the meeting. Bottom line, now you can't say my need is unfulfilled. Now, who should know this? If you like this, try it out. If it works for you, of course you will benefit, but this has to become a standard operating procedure. We have SOPs, rules, regulations, processes well defined for everything except Office. That's why we are inefficient. So let's start creating those SOPs. That's the way to broad base and amplify the impact of whatever I'm saying. Now, one more request to everyone, try to switch off your camera so that everyone gets maximum bandwidth and they can focus on the screen presentation, and the resolution will also be better for everyone. All right, so let's go further. Now, coming back to our diagram, which is, we had lots of features, right? And we had lots of options. Now, what is Sway? Many times you need to create a quick web page for whatever reason, internal, external, a circular, a new website for a product you're launching, a newsletter, anything like that. What do you do then? Oh, you go to IT, you go to some agency, ask them to create a web page. Now you can do it using Sway. Go to Sway, put your content, create a web page. It gives you a link. Depending on the context, it can give you a link which can only be seen by your staff after logging in, or an anonymous link which anybody in the world can see. End of story. It'll work on any browser and people can see it on mobile, desktop, doesn't matter. In simple terms, a responsive web page without knowing programming, without having a web server, nothing of that sort. It's all a part of Microsoft 365. Now, I'm sure you do forms also. A lot of us create forms, isn't it? When we have forms, what do we need? We need a form for capturing data, or for what purpose? For surveys, polls, or even multiple choice kind of exams for evaluating things. That kind of thing can also be done using Microsoft Forms. There are many forms tools. There is Google Forms, SurveyMonkey, more sophisticated tools. Agreed. But what is the difference here? One important thing you must start noticing now, that these products are not sitting there in isolation. Even though Forms is designed to capture data, many a times that data needs to be analyzed, which can be done in Excel or in Power BI. The form submission may itself need to be automated, in the sense when someone submits a form, maybe you're conducting a customer survey, and you want the customer, when they submit the survey, to get immediate response, right? When customer needs immediate response and that survey is going to be on for 1 month, customers may submit 200 forms during the 1 month. Who is going to sit there and respond immediately? You don't have people to do that. But we have this thing called Power Automate. So that's what I mean. This is a requirement for automation. As soon as someone submits a form, I want to check what the rating is. What rating has the customer given me? And if the rating is poor, then what do? Oh, if the rating is poor, I just send the immediate apology mail and maybe a discount coupon or something. And I create a task for my departmental head so that they can act on it. If the feedback is good, then what do? Well, if the feedback is good, I want to send a thank you letter immediately. And I also want to send an appreciation letter to the department concerned. And I want to log it as an audit trail. Who is going to do that for everything? So that's where this thing comes into picture. So we have something called Power Automate. What does that mean? Power Automate allows you to do what I just said very, very quickly. How does it do that? Well, you can actually say I have form, and once the form is filled, I want something to happen automatically, like this. So that is called Power Automate. I can create a simple workflow like this, saying as soon as the feedback is submitted, check it. If it is below 3, do this. If it is above 3, do this. All this without programming. So what am I saying again? These products are not sitting in isolation. They are designed to work with each other, but many customers who already have these tools have not explored individual products, nor have they explored the integration. What is the net result? They have spent money, they are spending money. This is a subscription product. So every month you pay money, but you're not getting any return on investment. Your productivity is not improving because you're still doing your unstructured work exactly the way you were doing before buying these products. Which version you have doesn't matter. The product has to be used effectively. Otherwise, that investment is a total waste. So a couple of questions let me address. What about notes in the form of audio recording? Well, nowadays we have an option in Teams where if you are talking, that it's automatically transcribed. That's number one. Second, in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, everywhere now we have a dictate button. So if you want to actually, if you prefer to speak, for example, you're attending a session and during the session you want to speak and you want to take notes, no problem. We can do that very, very easily like this. So if you go to Word, for example, dictate. I'm sure many of you have noticed that the speech to text in Windows was not very nice, but now it is cloud enabled, AI based and all that. So now if I do this, notice whatever I'm saying is getting converted live. And this is not just English. Let me also show you something else. So I'm going to change the spoken language to Hindi. अभी जो भी मैं बात कर रहा हूं इसको समझिए. ये कैसे समझ रहा है? मैं जो बोल रहा हूं उसका ऑडियो माइक्रोसॉफ्ट के सर्वर पे जा रहा है लाइव वहाँ AI अप्लाई हो रहा है, मशीन लर्निंग एल्गोरिथम अप्लाई हो रहा है और वो कन्वर्ट कर रहा है हिंदी में. इतने लैंग्वेजेस अवेलेबल है. So if you like speech, you can always use this to take notes. Next, Harish is asking, if we buy a license for Office 365, yes, absolutely. All these products come by default. So let me just show you. This looks like a slide I have created, but let me actually take you to Office 365 itself. So if I have Office 365, this is Office 365, and I go to all apps, you will see all these, and there are more on the admin side, which I'm not showing you. So once you buy this, you get a license for all these. I don't sell anything, by the way. One disclaimer, I am not from Microsoft. I don't sell any software, neither from Microsoft or nor any other company. So whatever you buy or don't buy does not help me or benefit me monetarily in any way. Having said that, these tools are available. Exactly which tools and where do they work, and there are multiple SKUs available. But by and large, whatever I'm showing you is available when you buy what you call as Microsoft 365. Now, while we are at it, let me also clarify one thing. Depending on the company, your company size, there are different types of things available. So just to go clarify that as well. Typically what happens is when we purchase these, there are different licensing options which are available to us. So these options are two types: enterprise options and small and medium business options. In either case, the products are same, but the pricing and the packaging and stuff like that is a little different. So I will send you links about where to go and what to do later, but just to quickly show you that so that everyone is on the same page. Just let me digress and show you one slide. So there are two types of products available. One for small businesses. So here the upper limit is, I think, 300 or 400 users in the organization. And all this, whatever we are talking about, this is per user per month kind of cost. For enterprises, the packaging is a little different. Again, these are different SKUs available. But anyway, having said that, let's go to something else. The question is, are these being used fully? The answer is no. Why is the answer no? Because many people have purchased these. Many enterprises have definitely purchased these, but they're not using these things to the fullest advantage because we have budget for buying, but we have no budget for adoption. We will come to that a little later. But let's continue our journey on what is available and how to manage it better. Now, Visio, that's another thing. Many of us are into process improvement. Whichever size your company is, we have processes either in the business side, shop floor side, logistics side, procurement side, and we want to document the processes and improve them. So how do you create those process diagrams? Most of us used to do it using, even today, Word, Excel, PowerPoint shapes, and that's very primitive. If you earlier know, there was a beautiful product available called Visio, but that was a costly product and you had to purchase it separately. So practically nobody did it. But now, as a part of Office 365, the light version of Visio is available. Many people who already have Office 365 do not know this. So now you can create diagrams, flowcharts, block diagrams, process diagrams, business matrices, cyclic processes, pyramids, much more sophisticated diagrams to document what you do, and of course for presentations as well, using a component which is a part of the system. That is Visio. Another common thing we have been working on for, especially during COVID, is lots of meetings. I'm sure all of you do meetings. On premises versus meetings, what was the difference? Now meetings are all online. Now on premises, every meeting room, even if smallest conference room, would have a whiteboard. Now, how often do we use whiteboard in a online meeting? Very rarely. But if you're using Teams, there is a whiteboard. Even if you're not using Teams, in Windows 10 itself, There is an app called Whiteboard. It's a part of Office 365 as well. Works on browser, mobile, tablet, everywhere. So if you want to do interactive brainstorming, please start using this. So when you go to share, screen, window, whiteboard. When you do whiteboard, what happens? You don't need touch screen. You can use normal keyboard mouse also. It's a very powerful and capable system. It gives you some really, really useful templates which are optimized for business use. It also works beautifully on mobile. These are the templates available. These are the common reasons why people actually use a whiteboard. So these are ready to use templates, common as being, say, brainstorming. So here is the brainstorming template. One click and you get this. Even if there are 20 people on the call remotely, they can actually actively, interactively create this whiteboard. So this is project management. This is problem solving. This is empathy map. So many different options. So bottom line, start using whiteboard irrespective of which tool you are using for meetings. It's a part of Office 365. It can work purely on the browser as well. So you don't have to purchase anything extra in that sense. Now, coming back. Now we come to the execution part, and we create files, we capture data. Where do we put the data? We have to put it somewhere. And that is a big source of inefficiency. So creating typically is a one-person process, but at some point of time, you'll have to share the file with someone. So now we are going into the realm of teamwork. But before we go into teamwork, let's see what kind of work we do and simplify and make it more efficient. One kind of classification of work I already showed you, structured and unstructured. But there is another kind of classification. Who is actually going to execute the work? From that point of view, two types of work, my work and teamwork. This is something I do. Two types. This I actually execute myself and I spend time to do it. The other part is I delegate. So let's start with that and see how to make that more efficient now. Well, everyone knows how to do their work. We have JD, we break it down, and then we do whatever we want to do. Now, if you exceed your JD, then you're going to grow. If you don't deliver what is in the JD or just deliver what is in the JD, that's not going to help you grow. This is where we want to be. So obviously we want to execute our work efficiently before our time, ideally get some extra time and then use that time to exit the JD. Very good thought. Now let's see. What is the biggest shortage? Time. So next, where is your task list? Where is the list of your pending work? Well, that is not one answer. Like I said, where are your notes? Variability. Where is your task list? Variability. No standard. Whatever we feel like we do. Nobody told us the best way, so we try our best. Unfortunately, because this is going to be scattered, we can't sort, filter, prioritize. What does that mean? We can't manage it properly. If we can't even look at our pending work properly in a single place, how do you expect to manage it properly or optimally or efficiently? So let's solve that problem. What is the root cause? Scattering of list. Let's put it in one place. The best place in Microsoft platform is Outlook task folder, not calendar, task folder. So whenever you get a task, wherever it originates, doesn't matter. Go to the task folder, not to-do list, task folder, and add it there. This is the quick way of adding. Put the task, put the deadline, and it's done. Easy and effective. Quick method is easy. So type the task, type the due date, you're done. Now we have a single place to go to. But what if I want to delegate the work? Well, no problem. Even if you want to delegate the work, still go to task folder. Do not send a mail because you're going to forget about that mail later. Go to the task, but from here you create the task. Then put the task, put the deadline, and put assign task and put the name of the person, email ID. Now send it, not as email now, as a task. So the other party will accept it formally. When they mark it as complete, you will be notified. But what if that person doesn't do anything? Still, it is beneficial because now what is happening here? Now you will still see that task in your task folder, which is a great thing. So step 1, create a task list which shows you my work as well as delegated work. Step 1, we are already better off. Now for the work which I am going to do, I need to find time. So you scan your work. Okay, this one is going to take a lot of time. This one is going to take a lot of time. Now, where is that time? Have I blocked it? If I have not blocked it, it's a problem. Step 2, proactively block that time in your calendar. That's where you use calendar. Go to calendar, open task in a separate window, important, time consuming, strategic, significant tasks, drag and drop well in advance, block the time, increasing the chances of you finishing the work before time. That's called execution. Take an appointment with yourself to do your own work. Best way to do time management. Now we are talking. So suddenly what has happened? My life, earlier I used to go to calendar and inbox, but now suddenly the task folder has become important. So go here first, then the rest of it. Very good. Obviously, you will want to see this on mobile. That's why there is an app called To Do app. It is a part of Office 365. Make sure you install it, log in using the same ID, and they will sync from mobile to desktop and vice versa. This works on Android, iOS, doesn't matter. So that's how now my work has become much better now. Very good. Now let's talk about the other part, which is what? Which is teamwork. So far we have seen my work. Now the next part. Teamwork also comes in two categories. One is one piece of work, multiple people involved, and the other more complicated where multiple related tasks and multiple people involved. So let's see this one to start with. I have one piece of work to do. The same examples I'm taking, but you can think of whatever work you do. Now I need to manage this work. Yes. Now, yeah, I need my domain knowledge. I will do the work, but I need inputs from others. So let's say I want to create the budget for next quarter. I know how to do it. I have the domain knowledge, experience, everything. But exactly what activities? This is one task, but it's not one activity. There are multiple activities involved. So let's see. First of all, I need to gather whatever data I have, and I'll put those files in one folder, wherever that folder is. Local drive, OneDrive, Google Drive, something. Then I realize I have some data, but I need some data. I need some inputs. I need some clarifications before which I can't create the budget. So how do I get all that? I send mails to someone. I call some people. I chat with some people. I do meetings with some people. Some of them send me data on chat. Some of them send me as file. Some of them send me as attachment. Again, mixed up. Then I copy paste, make some draft, send it to boss by mail. Boss sends me 20 other changes. Then I have a call with boss, meeting, sharing screen, finalize. Then draft is final. Then we have another meeting with the stakeholders who are actually going to work on the budget, another draft. And then after 27 different individual activities using so many different apps, my job is done. Now, two questions for you. And this time I want you to type something in chat. I want you to type two answers. Question number 1, does it sound familiar? Question number 2, does it sound efficient? So give me a composite answer. Answer to question 1, hyphen answer to question 2. Familiar? Yes, no. Efficient? Yes, no. Activity is 1? No. The task is 1. Multiple people involved. It leads to so many different activities with so many different apps. Obviously, it's familiar, and obviously, it's not in it. It's not efficient. What has changed? The same question I could have asked you 30 years back, and by and large, the answer would have been the same. That is what I mean. Despite spending billions on IT, people have not changed. So what is the problem? Am I saying emails are bad? No. Meetings, I'm saying don't do video calls, don't do chat. All of them are components of unstructured work. I'm not eliminating them. The problem is each one is a separate app, and that you jump from this to that and get confused. Your focus lost, concentration goes down, output quality goes down, time taken goes up, and multiple people are involved. And I describe one task like that. We are juggling hundreds of tasks on a weekly basis. So problem. Solution, we are not trying to eliminate the modalities, but why not do all this in one app? That is why Microsoft created Teams. Unfortunately, this part, most customers who are using Teams have still not understood. Many people were forced to use Teams as a part of COVID. Many people were not. But despite how you got introduced to Teams, most people are using it for chat and calls. Nothing wrong with that. But Teams is designed for a much better purpose. So how do we use Teams more effectively beyond just meetings and chat? Well, I told you a breakdown of one task into multiple activities. That again sounds unstructured, but we can classify it. I was communicating with people. I was communicating with people in the context of some files, or I was meeting them. Broadly, three categories. If it is not an urgent communication and no file is involved, by all means, I can send a mail. If I need immediate clarification, I can call someone or do a chat. I don't want to call because chat, there is something written there, but it is fast. Now, when it comes to files, we have a problem. Why is there a problem? Because when there is a file I created and I want to send it to someone, depending on the urgency, I'm going to send it as an attachment or I'm going to put it on a group chat. In either case, those people open multiple copies, they will edit, send it to me, multiple attachments, copy paste, intermediate copy, one more round, more copies, more copy paste, more rounds, 27 copies, and whatever happens. Is it familiar? Yes. Is it efficient? No. Incidentally, we call this teamwork. It doesn't matter which company, which tool, which IT, by and large, the world has not changed. Nothing to do with COVID. Same problem. Same situation. Familiar? Yes. Efficient? Not. So this has to be completely dramatically changed. What is the root cause here? Do we really want to be inefficient consciously? No. It just happened. Nobody showed us a better way and we just got used to the inefficiency. This is a very large problem. It's like a worldwide problem. So tell me, what do we call it when everyone has a disease? What do we call it? If everyone has a disease, what do we call it? If everyone has a disease, it is not called pandemic. COVID is a pandemic. Pan means all, yes, but pan means all countries. If everyone has a disease, it is not called pandemic, it is called normal. And that is what I'm saying. Everyone in the world is working like this. Nobody is bothered. I am working like that. My competitor is like that. My boss, my subordinate. So we just got used to it. But never mind. Now we can sit up, take notice, do some simple root cause analysis, think and find the solution. What is the root cause? Copies. Why copies getting created? Because we are sending them. So stop sending them. Keep them in one place. So one person should have one place in such a way that file should be always one copy and people come to the file rather than file going to those. Now any cloud storage mechanism can be used for this. I'm not saying OneDrive is the only place. There are hundreds of cloud storage mechanisms. The issue is that is for personal. This is official. So you need to identify people. You need to send an official communication to someone. So that's why Office 365 is your official email ID. That's why OneDrive, not personal, for business. What does that for business mean? Many customers, large, small, doesn't matter, are still worried about putting data on cloud. Why? Because their data is valuable. Agreed. If your data is valuable and if that data leaks, what happens? There will be some compliance issue, reputation loss, trust gone. There may be some legal fine also. Typically 4% of your global turnover is the fine. Now those rules and regulations are making us more worried. Absolutely correct. Now just to take one step back. When you put your data on Microsoft, in this case, you become Microsoft's customer. So don't you think the same rules, regulations apply to Microsoft as well? In fact, more rules and regulations apply to Microsoft because they are working globally. So all compliance requirements they have to meet up with, plus US government requirements, plus industry standards across all industries, and plus regional standards, because they are working across industries and across regions. So just by virtue of putting your data on Microsoft, You are implicitly getting compliance benefits of all these. It's a superset. It's a good thing to be. Now, don't take my word for it. You can go to something called Service Trust Portal. Just search for Service Trust Portal Microsoft. And there you can actually see which rules and regulations are automatically and implicitly applied to your data when you put a file on OneDrive or Teams or SharePoint. Now, potentially you could also have done it with your IT infrastructure. But the question is your business managing compliance or your business, whatever your core business is? So why waste time? Just outsource it to the expert so that you get best of both worlds. And for this compliance on all this, there is no extra money. It's a part of the deal. So you can actually see all the audit reports and stuff like that. And if you are a legal or compliance or IT or security person, you can see more details there. But coming back to this part, that was the legal and compliance and benefit. What is the business benefit from a user point of view? Just by virtue of putting the file on OneDrive, you're not spending any extra effort. Earlier, we were clicking on this button whenever it comes to save this PC. Now, never you should click on it. That's your enemy. Always click on this. And by virtue of doing this, you get so many benefits. No extra effort, not even a single extra click. So read this. I'll take a pause for a few seconds and drink some water. Yeah, thanks. So all these other benefits you get, some of them are implicit. You don't even have to do something. Some of them you have to do extra effort, but that effort itself is simpler now. This is the most important. When you send a link to someone, what do? The file is not going anywhere. All the people can edit the same file at the same time, even if those people are outside your organization. So it's safer and faster. No more copy paste. So just to show you before after, earlier we were struggling with this. File is same, multiple copies, multiple edits, multiple copy paste. Now file is one, everyone's coming to the file. If you have not tried this, please try it. Even if you don't have Office 365, you get 1 month for free. Take the trial, try it out. And then you will realize how much time, energy, money you are wasting giving salary to people for copy paste. Really, there's no top line impact. There is no bottom line impact, but the entire world is apparently busy. What's the point? Less effort, more impact is the keyword here. Now, very important. This is equally important when it comes to sharing, not just within the company, but outside the company as well. So how do we go about doing it? Let me show you. So if I have a file and I have saved it, the share button is right here. I don't have to go to Outlook or email and attach. The share button is right there. And once you use that share button, what do you get? You are in control. What do I mean by that? You can share from Word, Excel, PowerPoint, share button. When you are earlier sending attachments, that is absolutely unsafe and inefficient. Why unsafe? Because you send the attachment, what that other party is doing, you will never know. Now the file is not going anywhere. You choose the people. You choose whether to allow them edit or not. You choose whether to allow download. And you can even include people from outside the organization. The outside organization person, many IT people block. Please don't block it. That's wrong. That should be encouraged because the file is not leaving the organization. It's safer. The outside party has to prove that that person owns that email ID by typing it, They'll get an extra OTP, only then the file will open. It's extra safe, better than attachments. And of course, at any point of time, you can stop editing by saying, now onwards, I don't want to allow you editing. So at all points, you're always in control. So for internal as well as external sharing, sending links is infinitely more efficient as well as more safe. So please encourage that. Stop sending and start sharing. That's what I mean. So now, all this which I talked about was in the context of what? In the context of teamwork, where we said files are involved, teamwork, don't send attachments, send links. But what if it was an urgent requirement? I anyway was not going to send a mail. I was going to put a group chat, and there are multiple people in that chat. I'm going to upload the file here, and everyone is going to open the file in the chat. Now you tell me, if there are 4 people in the chat, 4 of them open this file, how many copies? 4. What is the point? Absolutely no point. We are back to square one. But that is with all other chat applications. We saw how many places in these icons we could do chat. In case of Teams, that is not true. In Teams chat, when you upload a file in a group chat, even if everyone opens it, it implicitly internally uses OneDrive and shares this file with everyone. So even if 20 people open the file in Teams chat, it's still one copy. So all the benefits of OneDrive I just talked about are implicitly available in Teams chat. That's one more reason to use Teams chat for official work. Please don't use any personal chat software for official work. Not because boss is telling, not because IT is telling. If there is a dispute, if there is leakage of information, and if it is brought to you, it's personal legal risk also. And if your company suffers indirectly, you're also suffering. So don't you think anything someone tells you to do, what do you say? Official, put it on email. Don't we say that? Why do we say that? Because anything which is email has some implicit compliance associated with it. Why do we always say put it on email? Because as per regulatory requirements, I think 5 to 7 years, every company is supposed to keep official communication. That's called retention. And if there is a dispute, you can search for it, and that can help you in the litigation or clarifying the dispute. That is why we always say official means put it on official email, not personal email. Same way, official work should be done on Teams chat. Why? Because exactly the same retention, archival, discovery, which is applicable to email, is also available here. The difference is email is slow, chat is fast. So you're getting speed plus compliance. That's why we should use Teams chat for official communication as well as file sharing. You can add external parties to Teams chat also, by the way. And this is for IT. Please don't block it, encourage it, because you'll get a better audit trail and it'll be a part of Azure B2C. Having said that, now there is another problem. When it comes to Teams chat, what happens? Like any other chat, Teams chat allows you to chat with people and groups, nothing new. But Teams chat has one new thing, additional thing, which sometimes people don't notice, or if they notice, they get irritated. When you finish a Teams meeting, it lands up in chat. It doesn't go away, it stays in chat. Many people don't like it. So remember, when there is a feature which is irritating, that means it must be really important. Why? Because Microsoft knows it is irritating, still they have kept it, means it must be really useful to humanity. So as humanity, it is in our interest to find the reason behind it. Let me tell you the reason. In this, there are so many places where you could do an audio video call with screen sharing. Meetings, basically. So many different applications for doing meetings. Each one has a start meeting button, each one has an end meeting button. Done. Meeting finished, click this button, everyone goes home. They're already at home, doesn't matter. Meeting is finished, yes. Nothing to be done, nothing. Really? What about these? Oh, yeah. That is post-meeting follow-up. But then if you ask any of these apps, what to do about these, They say, my job is done. Meeting is finished. I have a software for meetings. Now it is your problem. Now, how do you solve that problem? Oh, we go to the calendar, say reply to all, and send more and more email to everyone. Familiar? Yes. Efficient? No. Same story. So that's why Teams is the only software which says, I know who you are. I know who was a part of the meeting. I know you will need to collaborate with them after the meeting. Why are you wasting each other's life by sending more mails to each other? Let's continue that in a chat. And that is why during, before, after that Teams chat is available. And that's why the meeting appears as chat. So when I go to the meeting specific chat, and this is a standard operating procedure now, teach this to everyone that now anything about this meeting, I'm not going to send a mail to everyone because those people are already a part of this chat. I can upload my files here, collaterals here. I can continue to discuss. Even my whiteboard, which I used in the meeting, is still alive for long-term collaboration. I need something else to be added. No problem. There are 300 plus Microsoft and third-party applications which integrate. That is what we mean. Less email, more impact. Less effort, more output. Same principle being used in this context. So that is how teamwork becomes simple. So what is the standard operating procedure now? After any meeting, follow-up should happen in team chat. Don't waste everyone's life sending email. Very good. Now let's look at the other part of teamwork. What do I mean by that? This is simple teamwork, single task, multiple people kind of thing. What about this, which is multiple related tasks? Means what? Basically, we have a project, multiple people involved, cross-functional, multiple companies also involved. We have a project plan, long task list, and a deadline. Everyone needs to be in sync with each other. So I send a mail every day to everyone, 14 people in CC, saying I did this. Same thing someone else is doing, same thing someone else is doing. And then you can just do a simple calculation. How many mails are going to come to everyone? Thousands of mails. The exact number is not important, but you get the idea. Familiar? Yes. Efficient? No. And what are these mails about? Some communication about the project, some meeting notes about the project, related files, task list, updates of task list, updates to updates. One project, by the way. Are you a part of one project? No. Invariably, you're a part of multiple projects. So more mails, more mails, more mails. Plus your regular email is not stopping. Again, familiar, inefficient. Same story, root cause. What is the problem? Well, is inbox the problem? No, everyone gets one inbox. Whether you are the chairman or a trainee, everyone gets one inbox. And invariably, you're going to be a part of multiple projects. The problem is neither. Problem is something which is always one is being used to manage something which is always more than one. It's a commonsensical mistake, but everyone has been doing it for decades. So we just got used to it. No problem. Stop using inbox. Start creating a separate place for every project. Nothing to do with inbox. That is the other part of Teams, which most people are not using. So whenever there is a project, create a separate team. How do you do that? Not by going to chat and creating a group chat. The second thing, Teams. You create a separate team, create a team, add your team members there, including external parties, and then everything about the project you manage here. That is called efficiency. So now if you start using Teams, what will happen? See the difference. You're a part of 4 projects. You're not using Teams. I want to know what is happening in a project. Where do I go now? The dumping ground, inbox, search project name. You get a smaller version of dumping ground in random order. Are you really having clarity? No. More effort, less impact. Compare that with Teams. You go to Teams, you can see each project separately. You can only click on the unread projects. You're up to speed. Less effort, more impact. It's obvious, but many customers who have Teams don't even know this exists. Those who know exists are not using it. Some people are using it in pockets, but nobody has educated every user saying whenever there is a project requirement, stop using email, start using Teams. So that's how standardization and broad basing is very important. But before I go further, there will be a problem because every user at every level, lowest level, may not be a part of the project. So he'll say, no, I'm not a part of the project, so I will not create a team. Now wait, when I say project, I don't really mean a formal mammoth project, which is going to be multi-million dollar and go on for 2 years. No, we are talking about something much more common, which may not even be called a project. So let me give you some examples. Reviews. Everyone is doing reviews every now and then. Doesn't matter what is the size of the company, team, department. I'm just giving you some examples. Do they look like projects? No, they absolutely don't look like projects. But there is something common here. What is that? There are multiple same group of people involved on a long-term basis with a common objective. And because multiple people are doing something over a long period of time, they will discuss, they will have files, they will have a task list, and they will have meetings. So whenever this requirement is there, even if it's not a project, you have to use Teams, not use email. Create a team and life is good. That is why I showed you those use cases. All these use cases are happening in email right now. Create a team, life is good. So this is the standard operating procedure. Common goal, same people, long term. All these there, create a team. Now, what is the benefit of team? As I showed you, when you go to Teams, now I can clearly see I'm a part of these many projects and I have clarity. And without searching, I can go and find out what's happening, interact, do whatever I want. Very good. That's not all. Within the team also we get a structure. So if I open this team, within that also, I don't want to jumble up everything and create a mini version of inbox. So budgeting is separate, event management is separate. So whatever you want, you create channels for that. You can create any number of channels. So you get a structure within the team also. So multiple projects, multiple sub-projects, modules, threads of execution. Even within that, you get a structure. Posts is for discussion, files is for collateral files, and then of course you will need a task list. So bottom line, once you create a structure, this is a team. These are channels. In each channel, I can discuss here. This is not chat. Related files I'll put here, not in OneDrive. And whatever else I need, I click on this plus sign. Again, 300 kind of different things available. And what happens here? Most commonly, obviously, you're going to need a shared task list. So that is called a task by planner, shared task list. So you add it here, and then you can create buckets for tasks. You can add tasks, deadline, delegate. Everyone can see this live on any device, just on a browser also, including external vendors, outsourced agencies. They don't need a Microsoft license. They just need browser and internet. And anytime you want to do a review, don't want to call for a meeting. Just say group by progress. That's your Kanban view, live. You can see it graphically also. And if you are worried that, yes, this is good on a per project basis. But then if I am a part of multiple projects, each project has a long task list. How do I know my tasks across projects? Don't worry. Click on this button, one more click, and it shows you all your tasks across projects on Platter. So everything you can think of is already implemented. Remember what I said? Two things I said. If there is a need, there must be a solution. And second, less effort, more impact. So bottom line, this is how you can see all your tasks across teams and a consolidated view of your work coming from Outlook and project specific work coming from Teams and Planner is visible in the same mobile app to do. That's how these things work together. Now we have seen all types of teamwork. Now let's switch tracks quickly and I'll show you something about analytics, something about presentations, and then we will finish. Now, when it comes to analytics, there are so many things you can do, but I'm going to show you just two things. What exactly does analytics mean? Well, if you ask 10 people, you will get 10 definitions. In simple terms, we have data and we analyze that data. So let us simplify. I have this data, 11 columns, 5,000, whatever, 1,500 rows. How many reports will I ask for? You are the boss. Whatever number of reports boss asks, people give. Tell me a number. What number of reports? Ten, 15, some number, right? Now that depends on business context. I understand all that. Now let's take a step back and think, what exactly are we doing with analysis? We are trying to learn something useful from what the data which is already there, with historical data. Very good. Then what can you do with it? You can't do anything with past. You can only learn from it, use that knowledge to try to improve the future. That's the whole purpose. So now, how many things do you want to learn? That's the question I was asking. How many reports you want? So whatever number you give, doesn't matter. That's a number. That means you stop at that number. That means if you stop at 10 or 12 or 20, potentially there could be an equally useful 21st or 29th thing lying in the data. You own the data. That useful thing is waiting to be exploited. Nobody asked for it. Nobody looked at it. Nobody acted upon it. That's called loss of business opportunity. On the other hand, if I change my mindset and not stop at few and become greedy, then I am suddenly going to get competitive advantage because that data has so much more to offer. I was not taking up that benefit. So good slide. But how do you do it? Do you have unlimited time to keep creating unlimited reports and hope that something will happen? You don't have. That's where AI comes into picture. You don't have to know AI. You don't have to pay extra. It's a part of Excel. So in Excel, mind you, Excel Office 365 version, there is a button called Analyze Data right there in Home tab. So click in your raw data, click on this button. That's it. It analyzes it using an algorithm, AI algorithm, statistical algorithm. You don't have to know statistics or AI. And then it correlates every column of your data from here with your every column with every column. And then it finds statistically significant or interesting findings and gives those to you as reports. Depending on the data, it will generate as many reports as are required. You just eyeball those reports. Some of them you may know already, some of them you may not. And whichever sounds interesting, you click on it, then it'll actually add the pivot table and the chart and give it to you on platter. Then you can investigate further. Beautiful stuff. Now, based on this, what is the standard operating procedure? Whenever you have data, irrespective of how many reports you create, please click on that Analyze Data button. I know hundreds of customers who have that button, but neither does anybody know about it, nor has anybody created SOP. So that button dies a death every day, although potentially you're paying for it. So the SOP is simple. Whenever you have data, after you finish doing standard statutory reports, click on that, eyeball it. The other thing is you may have questions in mind. Those questions can also be answered using Q&A. So it just asks you a question. In fact, it goes one step further. There is another tool called Power BI, which what I'm showing is the free version of that tool. What does it do? Install Power BI desktop. And then let's say you have a chart like this and something went down between March and April. Obvious question is why? So you right click there, say analyze, explain the decrease. So it looks at all your columns and says, oh, it went down because this business went down in these three countries. Malaysia actually went down, but all this went down. So net result is reduction. Like that, it will go through all your parameters, apply AI, rank them in the order of influence, and give you actionable information. This is another use of AI. So use the Q&A, use the analyze data, use explain the decrease, and so on and so forth. While we are at it, one of the biggest misuse of Excel is to capture data. Yes, you heard that right. You should not use Excel, whichever version doesn't matter, to capture data. Why? because it's a disaster from efficiency point of view. Why am I saying that? Because you send files to people, multiple, you create a format, send it to people, people send multiple files back, then you copy paste, same story. So stop doing that. Start using this thing called what? This thing which I'm talking about, which is another component of Office 365, which is called what? It is called lists. So let me quickly show you that, and then we will finish. Just give me a second to jump to that particular slide. So stop using Excel to capture data, not to analyze data. Analysis, that's the job of Excel. Lists is the tool. It's a part of Office 365. You create columns like we create in Excel, but unlike Excel, it has many more data types. Very, very powerful. It also has many more validations. It even allows you to have mandatory columns and so on, conditional formatting, very, very rich, very useful. Then, like we shared a file with people as link, this also can be shared as a link. So you're not sending any files, and you share it with as many people as you want. Obviously, you want to make sure they can't see each other's data. So two more settings there. People can read or edit only the data they add. End of story. So now people can edit in grid view like Excel. So familiarity is still there. Best of both worlds. Now whoever is entering, they can see only their data, but you can see everyone's data. At any point, you can export to Excel. It's a live link. You can create an auto refreshable analysis. You can even refresh it live every minute if you like. Same thing you can use in Power BI. Best of both worlds. So that's how every aspect of life which we are doing can be improved. What is the SOP? When you want to capture data from multiple people, stop using Excel, start using lists. And lastly, I'm sure many of you are very senior people, and the obvious question is, all this is good, but how do I make sure I do this across my organization? How do I do that? Well, you need to follow 4 steps. Very simple 4 steps. But if you don't follow them, you're not going to get ROI, irrespective of how much you spend. So 4 simple steps. What are the steps? First step is for the senior management to know the potential of this platform. If you are already senior management and you have attended this session, you already know this. If you are not senior management, but you have understood it, please show this video to your senior management. Once that is done, that's step number 1 done. This is the single most important strategic growth driver. It's such a low-hanging fruit. Nobody has noticed it. So please exploit it to your advantage. But once you as a leader know it, obviously you will want maximum benefit. So everyone has to know about it. And now it's easy. Create a live event in Teams. You don't have to pay anything extra to Microsoft. Up to 20,000 people can be a part of one live event. No extra payment, no special infrastructure, no special hardware. It's a part of Teams. So you can't give me an excuse saying we don't have infrastructure to train everyone, irrespective of how many users you have. Now, this will create awareness, but awareness alone is not enough. People will clap, go, and fall back to inefficiency after a week. That's why I'm harping on standard operating procedure. I have given you many ideas. There will be more, but who will create this on an ongoing basis? We are never going to meet each other again. So someone internally has to do it. So create champions. Each department nominate a couple of people. They should explore the platform, find useful things, map them to business context, and repeat the process. That's how you can get phenomenal improvement in everything you do, not just from operational efficiency point of view, but this by itself is a strategic growth driver. With that, I'm going to end my session and hand it back. Thank you. Of course, we'll take questions, but let me formally end the session in case some people have to leave. Okay, there's a question from Mr. Uday about MS Project. MS Project continues to be a separate tool. So far we have talked about my work, which goes in Outlook, project specific work, which goes in Teams and Planner. But when you are talking about tasks which are linked to each other, they have costs attached to it, they have resources to be mapped to tasks and leveling to happen. You want to know variances, all that kind of thing requires a formal project management tool. Please do not use Excel for it. MS Project is one of such tools. You can use any project management tool. Don't use a spreadsheet. Any other questions or comments?
Kindly put all your questions in the chat section. If any questions, please.
Okay, if possible, brief lecture on Excel. That's something I'm sure the IMC team will take note of.
Yeah, sure. We will take note of. Any more questions? Doctor, with your permission, can I move on to the next?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I think there is a question. We have recently purchased new PC with Office 365. We have emails from last 15 years, but old PST file is not indexing some.
Yeah, so don't put the PST file in OneDrive or SharePoint. You have 100 GB of mailbox now as a part of Office 365. Each person gets 100 GB. And our old PST files, however large they are not exceeding 100 GB. So go to your main mailbox, put up the local PST and drag drop the entire PST as a separate folder in the current Office 365 mailbox. The benefit of that is you only anyway have space, so you're not paying extra. And because it's a part of the online mailbox now, you can access it and search it even from a mobile. Don't put a PST on local drive because then it's sequestered to your local drive. Okay, Rahul, if you are using Teams, does each person need to have Microsoft account? In the internal organization, yes, but that can be the lowest level account if you want to save money. The lowest level account also has Teams in it, and you don't need a specific device. You can use any mobile phone or a browser. And if you're adding external parties to it, they definitely don't need a paid Microsoft subscription. A browser and internet is enough.
The video link would be available on the IMC YouTube channel to all participants just for their information. Doctor, shall I move on to the next?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. So as we come to the end of this interactive session, which was highly knowledgeable, and I hope everybody will utilize it to their maximum benefit, may I request Mr. Harish Tibrewala, Chairman, IMC Digital Technology Committee, to present the vote of thanks. Over to you, Mr. Tibrewala.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure listening to an expert, and today is no different. In the last 1.5 hours, Dr. Paranspe has given us like a 30,000 feet view of what all is possible in Microsoft. And then he has kind of deep dived into some very, very specific tips and tricks. And then very honestly, not one of the things that he showed in the last 1.5 hours was known to me. And I'm sure such will be the condition of a lot of us who joined this session. So it's been a hugely fruitful session. One can pretty much run the entire business just by using MS Office effectively. And then, like you keep saying, the whole idea is to become more and more efficient and bring a lot of efficiency. Thank you so much, Dr. Paranspe, for being with us today, taking us through the session. I'm sure lots of us have a lot of questions. We'll probably reach out to you. I understand your book on this subject, which I think we should all be now looking and referring at to learn more about Microsoft Office. So thank you really for all your time. I'll also request our participants to share feedback about that session. Thanks to the participants for joining the session. Please share your feedback so we can design better programs and more programs to meet your requirement. So thank you and good day, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. And most important, please do send us your feedback on the link provided in the chat section so that we can keep improving our services based on your suggestions. Thank you, participants. Thank you, Dr. Paranspe. Thank you, Dr. Pense. Thank you, Harish Bhai.
Thank
Okay,
you. Bye-bye.
everyone.
Thank you very much.